The terrifying ghosts of the Arctic. Inuit mythology. In the cold Arctic lands where the snow never melts and the nights stretch long, the Inuit people live close to nature. But there's more to their world than meets the eye. This is the land of the unknown, where powerful spirits and scary monsters roam. In this icy wilderness, secrets hide in every shadow, and whispers fill the air with mystery. But who are these legendary creatures that haunt the Arctic? First, we have Molina. She's a big deal in Inuit mythology, especially among the Greenlandic tribes. Molina's got a sibling, a lunar deity named Igaluk, and their story is pretty intense. Legend has it that Molina's always on the move, and it's all because of her bro, Igaluk, who's like her shadow. When they were young, they were tight, but as they got older, they drifted apart. Things that we've already seen in sibling dynamics, right? But one day, Igaluk started seeing Molina in a different light, if you catch my drift. He thought she was drop-dead gorgeous and couldn't resist making a move. So when the lights went out, he swooped in and, well, let's just say things got hot and heavy. Molina, embarrassed and angry when she realized what went down, left for the sky, trying to escape from her brother's advances. But Igaluk wasn't letting her go that easily. Some stories even say they had kids, but most people agree they were in constant conflict after that messy situation. Now, Molina's not known for having any fancy powers except for being the goddess of the sun. And boy, does she hold a grudge against her brother. Their disagreements are so intense, it even affects Inuit traditions. Like during a solar eclipse, men are supposed to stay indoors, and during a lunar eclipse, it's the ladies' turn to stay put. And if you upset Molina or Igaluk, watch out. They're known to bring down some serious illness on anyone who gets on their bad side, so yeah, don't mess with these two. But Molina's not the only goddess in the culture who's scary. Sedna's right there with her. She's a powerful goddess in Inuit mythology, ruling over the seas and all its creatures. She's also known as the Mother of the Sea or the Mistress of the Sea. Now, there are a few versions of Sedna's lore, but one of them goes like this. She starts off as this giant girl, daughter of the creator god, Anguta. But what's weird about her is that she's got a massive hunger that drives her to attack her own people. Anguta, understandably ticked off, decides to teach her a lesson. He takes her out to sea on his kayak, and get this, tosses her overboard. As she desperately clings to the side, he cuts off her fingers, one by one. Ouch! And down she goes into the underworld, where she ends up becoming the boss of all the creepy sea monsters. But here's where it gets really wild. Her chopped off fingers transform into all kinds of marine critters like seals, walruses, and whales. And you know what? The Inuit end up hunting these creatures for food. But if Sedna and Molina had you scared, you might not be prepared for Mahaha, who's an actual demon with a skinny body, long stringy hair, and limbs like spaghetti. It sounds almost like a human, right? But then you see those piercing white eyes, icy blue skin, and claws sharp enough to give you nightmares. Oh, and don't forget the constant smile and creepy giggling. That's how you know it's Mahaha coming for you. Now, Mahaha doesn't just go around scaring people. Nope. It's got a more sinister agenda. Tickling people to death. Yeah, you heard me right. Tickling to death. It might sound bizarre, but hey, Fear of being tickled to death seems to be a universal thing. We've heard of similar creatures in other cultures too. So, what do you do if you run into Mahaha? Well, the Inuit had a plan. They'd lure it to the lake, offering it a drink of water. And when Mahaha leaned in for a sip, they'd give it a good shove, sending it into the water where the strong currents would take care of the rest. Yep, that's how they dealt with the tickle monster from hell. And while we're on the subject of creatures from hell, let me introduce you to Kikern, a hairless dog spirit straight out of Inuit mythology. Now this guy's a real sight to behold. Kikern's a big, naked dog with fur only on its paws, but trust me, it gets even weirder. Kikern is known to strike fear into the hearts of Inuit folks, but it's easily spooked too. All you gotta do is call out its name, and it'll skedaddle like nobody's business. But here's the creepy part. Kikern likes to creep up on travelers when they're all alone and far from home. Someone could be walking in the dark, minding their own business, and suddenly, bam! This ugly mutt comes out of nowhere and attacks you. But Kikern isn't the only dog-like creature. There's also Adlet. This is a tribe with a rather unique origin story. These creatures were said to have the upper body of a human and the lower half of a dog. Legend has it that this particular tribe came about from the union between a woman and a large dog. Now, in some versions of the story, this woman is linked to Sedna, the sea goddess I told you about earlier. So this woman lived with her dad, but wasn't too keen on marrying a regular guy. Instead, she decided to tie the knot with a big dog with white and red spots. And guess what? They had 10 kids. 5 of them were dogs, and the other 5 were these dog-human hybrids, the Adlet. Now, taking care of 10 new mouths to feed wasn't easy. The burden of hunting fell on the woman's dad, but he wasn't too thrilled about raising these odd grandkids. So he dumped them all on a secluded island and left them to fend for themselves. The woman, not too pleased with dear old dad's actions, had her kids attack him, trying to rip off his hands and feet. Things took an even darker turn when one day the grandfather kicked his daughter off a boat and cut off her fingers as she clung on. Those fingers turned into seals and whales when they hit the water. Fearing for her children's safety, the woman sent them inland to start their own tribe of dog people, and let's just say, their less than ideal treatment from dear old granddad might explain why they are usually not friendly towards men. Despite being described as taller and faster, the Adlet often end up on the wrong side of humans, meeting a rather unfortunate end in many stories. Now, if these creatures seem nightmarish to you, then make sure to like this video and hit that subscribe button for more amazing content like this. Okay, so while Kikern and Adlet do their business on the land, there are some that hide beneath the surface of the water, like Qalupilluk, with webbed hands, scales, fins, and slimy green skin. You might mistake it for a regular sea creature. But wait, there's more. It's got long fingernails and hair. It sometimes wears a coat like Inuit women. But here's where it gets chilling. Qalupilluk wait by the shore, especially for kids who wander too close. Some say they lure children with a ghostly hum, drawing them in until it's too late. Once they've got their prey, it's bad news. They snatch up the kids and whisk them away in a pouch. There's even the story that they use a high-pitched sound to paralyze their victims. What happens next varies in the stories, from drowning and devouring the children to keeping them alive in some weird stasis, feeding off their energy to stay young forever. There are even tales of parents willingly giving their kids to the Qalupilluk out of desperation during hard times. They believed the creature would keep them alive until they could feed their families again. But these brave hunters would wait by the floating kids at night, cutting them loose just before sunrise and returning them to their families. And if they wanted to take down a Qalupilluk, they had to be clever, tricking it into revealing its true form. But as frightening as these may be, there's a lot more that mythology has in store for you. Click on the next video to learn more about some terrifying creatures of legend.